I'm going to drop a bombshell here. How's that? I'll drop a bombshell. Remember what I said earlier that we don't have all the information right now. Mm-hmm. Okay. This is going to be controversial, and I know I'm going to get attacked for it. I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway.
Hello and welcome to the Sharpening Report. I am your host, Josh Peck. I have a very special guest with me today, my good friend, author of The Trump Prophecies and so much more. He's done a lot of really good work for the ministry, for the church the past few years. Mark Taylor. Mark, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Josh. Thank you for having me on, brother. It's always an honor to be on your show.
Oh, absolutely. It's great to have you back on again. Thank you for making time for this. I know this was kind of last minute because you just lost like a major, I mean, everybody's getting censored now. Even some of the channels that I've been on as a guest for my newest film, Silent Cry, like I go on their show and then find out 2 days later that they're all gone. Like all these channels have been deleted. You had your YouTube channel removed. We had ours removed like a year ago, so this has been going on. But you're kind of in this group of the latest like purge. So tell us. I can't imagine that anybody watching this is not familiar with you. I'm sure they are. You've been on Sharpening Report before, and right. Also I'll let our audience know we actually don't really have a plan for this episode. I have learned that when it comes to Mark, it's better to have no plan and just let the Holy Spirit take over. So tell us how this came about. Like, what was your YouTube channel? What happened? What was this whole story? What everybody getting purged from your perspective? What's going on?
Well, it's a whole purge with big tech right now. I got caught up with the 37 in one night. 37 of us lost our accounts in one night. My channel was Mark Taylor Official because it really wasn't all my content. It was mostly like the interviews I would do that people would want me to share on there. People could go in one spot to see my interviews. I had almost 110,000 subscribers, and it was just like poof, gone, man. No warning, no nothing. You know what I mean? It just said I was bullying, apparently. The email finally came in and said I was bullying someone or people or whatever they considered it. And it's just like, well, I don't know what I'm bullying, but I guess maybe I'm bullying. Didn't like what I was doing, So, but we got caught up in that purge. And, you got and these guys who were calling for and, Bird to come forward to find out why they're doing what they're doing. Not that they really have a whole lot to do with YouTube. But, the purge is going on Twitter, too, now. Now it started on Twitter. I literally just saw someone that I'm friends with, I do interviews with. They just kicked him off of Twitter. And he had a huge account on YouTube when he got purged the same night I did, 78. And it's ridiculous what they're doing. They should have, the president's been calling for a repeal of Section 230 for like 3-4 months now. He's been hammering on them to do this. They should have done this 3 months ago. Now they're just now calling these guys before Congress, and it's going to be hopefully it's not going to be another dog and pony show where we just got, it's all bark and no teeth here. You know what I mean? They're just going to sit there and lie and deny and plead the fifth. It's going to take repealing Section 230 and letting the lawsuits fly is what it's going to happen, to hold these guys accountable. Now, nobody's going to get any money out of this. It's just simply going to be to hold them accountable, maybe bankrupt some of these guys, you know what I mean, and make them stop what they're doing right now.
Yeah, no kidding. And it's been going on for quite some time. They're getting more and more bold with it. Like the last time that they showed this kind of boldness was when they blocked. And people can say what they want about him, but I mean, you had like the major social media companies all delete him on the same day, like as if there's no collusion going on there. They're getting more and more bold with it because they keep getting away with it. And this just now happened, and and everybody got the same message that it was like for bullying. When they deleted my channel a year ago, they said that it was so vague that I had harmful content relating to and they gave examples of bomb making and like drug use. And I had nothing really.
Wow.
I tried for a year. I tried for an entire year to just talk to a person. I could not get past the bots. Just talk to a person and ask them specifically, what is it? What did I do? Because they even deleted. I made a little 6-minute like mini documentary about my son, my five at the time. He's 6 years old now, but my 5-year-old son battling leukemia. I made a little documentary about him and put it up there. They deleted that video. There wasn't anything about like treatments or natural, or there wasn't anything about any of that. They deleted it and said the same thing, that it was comparable to like bomb making or something. No real reason.
Yeah, well, but I'll tell you why. It's because you've been marked.
Yeah, exactly.
You've been marked. It doesn't matter what you put up there right now at this point, they're going to take it down. It's the same thing with me. I tell people, PayPal has been coming after me for a long time.
Yeah,
PayPal's been messing around with my business. Mm-hmm. They've been freezing money. with customers that have been ordering things.
Mine too, through Daily Renegade store. Yep.
And I tell people, if you're listening to this, if you're going to give to Josh, I don't take donations, but if I don't do this for a living. People like yourself do this for a living. This is how you make your money to keep the show on here. Mm-hmm. But don't put my name in the comments if you're using PayPal, whatever you do, because this is what's happening, Josh. Literally, I'll have someone, like I do the Monday Night Spiritual Smackdown every Monday night, and I'll have someone donate to Chris's show, and just the money's not even for me, brother. Mm-hmm. It's for Chris. And they'll put in the comments, thank you, Chris, for everything you and Mark Taylor are doing. Boom, it's flagged. They put a 30-day hold on it. And then they take it a step farther with me. They've been contacting people behind my back who I do interviews with and asking personal questions about me.
Oh, geez.
Brother, that is Gestapo tactics at its finest right there.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. We've been seeing a lot of those bully tactics too, and especially getting in the way of our business. With us, it's been a little bit more under the radar so far, but I'm sure that's gonna change. But like, it is impossible. Like I have this as a channel which hasn't grown at all. It hit 12,000 back when Sam Johnston was hosting it, and then he was starting to have problems growing the audience. I wasn't able to grow anything with my backup channel with the Daily Renegade 2.0. That one, my original Daily Renegade channel had about 80,000, but that had long since plateaued because it was like 3 years before that where it was rising and rising like crazy and then just dead at one point. And I could not get a subscriber to save my life. People were saying they were subscribing. People were saying they were getting kicked off, that they would go back to my page and find out that they're not subscribed. And I'm still hearing the same thing. So the Daily Renegade channel now, the backup channel, when we lost our whole channel, it was like big news kind of in our circles because I talked about it a lot. And since then, I've barely gotten a couple of hundred subscribers since then. And it's been months. I mean, I should have got more than that. I'm not complaining. Like it's because it's unfair. It's because, it's not just me being abused here through this, and it's not people like you, but it's people that want to actually watch our show and follow what we're doing, and we're trying to give people spiritual nourishment, and these enemies are standing in the way of that. Do you see this changing anytime soon, or do you think it's going to get worse before it gets a lot better?
I think it's going to get worse before the election, unless they repeal 230 before the election. I mean, gosh forbid that you talk about this right here.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get around the algorithms right now. If you talk about that, you're done. You're gone. You know what I mean? Whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on YouTube, it doesn't matter what platform you're on. So I mean, it's probably going to get a little worse because, again, these guys should have done this months ago. Look, I said 6 months ago, I said they got to do two things before the election. They got to get control of the voter electoral fraud, and they got to get control of the suppression of social media, because they're out there screaming for us to get out there and tell the truth, speak the truth, whatever's going on, whether it's child trafficking, whether it's this, whether it's that, speak the truth. You can't do it when we're getting booted off these channels. So Congress has sat on their laurels and done absolutely nothing now, and they want to wait a week before the election to call these guys before Congress, and for what? You know what I mean, at this point.
Yeah, no kidding. And I've often wondered about that because these tech giants, they've spoken in front of Congress before, and nothing. If anything, it seems to make it worse. If anything, it like emboldens them, and they just go and suppress us more. So it's like this time around, what's really going to change? So so we need to get rid of the 230. What can people like at home do? Like, is there anything that we as average Christians, or even if people are viewing and they're not Christian, just people that love America and love what America stands for? Yeah, patriots. What can we do?
Well, there's other platforms you can go on, but see, people say, well, why don't you go over to Gab? Why don't you go over to Parler? It's like, look, folks, or I think there was another app that was all Christian based, and it's like, look, that's not where the fight's at.
Right.
The fight is on Twitter. The fight is on Facebook. Now, I don't do Facebook. I don't deal with Facebook. I'm mostly on Twitter. I have a backup account on Parler, which is the same name as I have on Twitter, at Patton6966. So, I mean, but people want to say that, but that's not where the fight's at. The fight is on Twitter. And see, the problem is they know they got the monopoly on this. They know that's where the fight's at. So they're trying to steer the fight in their direction, if you will. And so what I would say is have a backup account. You can always go under an alias under Twitter. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And maybe you hope you try to build yourself back up again where it was at. The same thing maybe on YouTube and all these places. But the second they see you on there, or your face or this, that, and the other, then you're going to get flagged.
Yeah, definitely. And I agree with you. I think we're going to see this get worse up till the election. And probably, I'm curious what you think about this. Do you think there's going to be a long time before we know who's president because of this voter fraud stuff? Or
I don't think so.
How do you think that's going to pan out?
I don't think so. I think we're probably, Lord willing, we're going to know November 3rd, the night of November 3rd. Look, the stuff that's coming out, the damning information that's coming out on Joe Biden.
Right. And and I know with you we have to be careful because every time that you give an opinion, then they say
that's why I'm saying opinions here. That's not prophecy.
Right.
So this is where we're all have questions here. What we really don't know what's going to happen here. We know the end result that Trump's going to be the president. That's prophecy. We know that. All right. So how do we get to that point? And here's the problem, Josh, is that everybody wants to know the details.
Yeah.
They want to know, okay, what's coming next? What's coming next? And guys, it's like time out. God doesn't give us all the details because if he did, we have no need for faith.
That's right.
God told us where we're coming from. He shows us where we're going, but he's not going to give us each and every step of the way right here. This is where faith comes in, and this is where we come in as Christians to pray and warfare for the outcome of that prophecy that God has spoken. That's our job. Prayers when we are addressing God, warfare is when we're addressing the enemy, and we have to be doing both right now.
Oh, amen. Yeah, absolutely. And I really hope that people take that to heart, and especially because there is a lot of false information going on from every angle of this whole thing, and it's hard to really know. And it's hard to know what's true and what's not. But that's why I'm thankful for people like you that speak boldly, and you don't care if people shut you down or you don't care if people lie about you. You're just going to tell people what God has told you specifically, but also what you think about it. And
what is my opinion?
Yeah, exactly. And we just hope that the audience wouldn't conflate that, because you're and we've talked.
It happens. It doesn't matter what it still happens. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think those people, they already have their mind made up about you. There's nothing you could say. You could have 1,000 accurate prophecies, and then if you have one opinion on something that doesn't perfectly line up, they're going to say that you're a false prophet. And so I would challenge people who have that view. Like, look at what. Like Mark has specifically said God has told him. And as far as I know, as far as I have seen, all of that stuff has been dead on. Now, and then look at the opinions. And we can talk about opinions. We can speculate. Shoot, I say stuff all the time when I give opinions that don't turn out to be right because I'm not prophesying at the time. Right. Just like when you're giving an opinion, you're not either. Right. So is there – oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, but I mean, you're hitting on a good point there because, we talk about opinions. Our opinions are the details.
Right.
That's what we're talking about. The details sometimes become opinions because we don't have the details. And so we're trying to, maybe converse with the audience. If they can look at it that way, we're trying to throw opinions out here. Hey, what do you think about this? Like I just said about Biden. Does he make it to the race? We really don't know. Does he get indicted? We don't know. So those are all things that, we're trying to put the pieces to the puzzle together, maybe for the details for some of the listeners.
Now, what was really interesting, too, is you talked about justices and recently passed away, which I if I remember right, I think you specifically said that was going to happen at some point. And then now we have a lot of people said that she might not get sworn in or something might happen with that. What do you see happening? Because so far it seems like I think she's going to be sworn in like any day now, isn't she? Or
they said the next 72 hours she will be sworn in. They said Monday, but then somebody came back and said the next 72 hours. So whenever that is. So, look, here's the thing with the Supreme Court. God said that he's going to put 5 in there and he's going to reform the court at that point. Now, when he reforms the court, which that also tells us that Trump's going to get a second term because he's only got 3.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? So, Barrett, I believe, will be sworn in. She's going to have to be because just in case there's a flaw November 3rd and it goes to the Supreme Court, they're going to have to make a ruling on it, which I hope and pray that doesn't happen. That's my opinion. So, but at some point, when does God bring up Roe versus Wade? That's the question in play here. Again, The details. So we know that Roe versus Wade is going to come down. And when God says, when I reform the court, I will take on that great case called Roe versus Wade, and it will come down. So at what point does God say, okay, I've reformed the court? Because really we've only replaced 2 conservative judges. We replaced 2 judges with conservative judges, so we really haven't made any ground. RBG is the first one we're really making ground with here, and we knew that was going to be a tough one, which is Amy. Now, we all know John is compromised. You might as well just count him out. So at what point does God say, okay, now I'm going to take that case on? Is it the next 2 judges? Could be. Now, here's the thing with prophecy we got to be careful of. God says he's going to give us 5, right? So he said 1 was going to die, 1 was going to retire, and 3 would be caught in a scandal, is what he told me. Now, the 3 that are caught in a scandal, we may never know. Here again with prophecy, you got to be careful. We may never know what that scandal is, Josh. Can you imagine catching 3 judges, Supreme Court judges, in a scandal and removing them all at once?
Wow.
You'd start a civil war in this country. So what would their exit strategy be? They may be Ginsburg, they may retire out, or they just may step down, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? What is their exit strategy? See, we don't have the details. You know what I mean? We may never know until like 5 years later that, hey, these 3 that just left were actually caught in a scandal, and here it is. You know what I mean? So this is where we got to be careful with the prophecy. But we know we're going to get 5. Roe versus Wade will come down. It'll get kicked back to the states. And I believe at that point with the states is when God will say, okay, this is where the blessings or the curses will come in for those states. Whoever's going to allow abortion, whoever's going to get rid of it.
I want to get into some details that YouTube won't allow because YouTube is YouTube, but we can allow it at dailyrenegade.com. So for people who don't yet know about this, dailyrenegade.com, we have I hate the word safe space, but that's kind of what it is. We've created the safe space for us Christians to be able to go and talk about anything we want. You don't have to worry about censorship because we own it. And when I say we, I mean we, because you at home are helping. Those of you who are members, you're helping support it. We're all building this together. So, I put my own money into it as well. We all do that together, and we're building this place together. If you don't feel led, or if it's something that you don't want to be a part of, that's totally fine. I would never say anything like, well, that means that you're not really Christian or something ridiculous like that. Right. Not everybody's going to feel led to this thing. But if you do, then head on over to dailyrenegade.com, become a member, get a membership today. Just know that your membership doesn't only help Daily Renegade, but we also help support other ministries as well, and we have a list on the website that talk more about that. But go get a membership, and the reason that we created it is because we get videos deleted. If this one might even get deleted, just the little bit that we treaded today, it might get deleted. So the reason that we have Daily Renegade is so even if YouTube deletes it, the video is still preserved, because I've had 8 years of good, solid biblical teaching just gone because YouTube has decided that it's not worth keeping around on their servers. So we have our own space, dailyrenegade.com. If you want to get the rest of this episode where we're going to talk about things that YouTube will not allow us to talk about, head on over to dailyrenegade.com and get a membership now. So for people viewing for free, Mark, do you have any final words, any last comments for the people who are viewing for free on YouTube right now?
Yeah, I just want to encourage people right now, Josh, because things look dark. They're always going to look darkest before the dawn right now, okay? And we're coming into the crescendo of this fight, which is November 3rd. Now, we know November 4th, things are going to break loose in this country probably, because he may have to deploy the military, he may have to say enact the Insurrection Act or some martial law in some places. I tell people, get about 10 days, 14 days worth of food stored up just in case. This is not doom and gloom. We have to do this, guys. This is probably going to be the roundup that we've all been looking for. And Obama, Hillary, all going to go to jail. They're all going to prison, folks. So be encouraged. We just have to hang in there, and we got to get through this. This is the crescendo we're coming up to. So just stay in prayer, stay in warfare. The victory is ours. Absolutely.
And if the information stays current and you don't get deleted even more, where can people find you now if they want to?
Right now, they can find me on Twitter at Patton, like General Patton 6966. That's not the mark of the beast. That was my fire department ID number. Yeah, the Lord told me one day, he says, the 9 separates the 6s. I've called you to prophesy judgment, which is 9, against the system. That's why I gave you that number, he said. So the same thing on Parler at Patton 6966 right now.
Excellent. All right. So everybody if you're a member, hang on the line. We got a lot more to talk about with Mark Taylor. Everybody viewing for free, thank you so much. Please, once again, consider heading on over to dailyrenegade.com and getting a membership. We will see you there.